goes over a tenth of a second fast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Formula Trout League Premier Series round 10 at Suzuka in Japan. This is the Challenger Split race. I'm Alex Cochran, usually on the cameras, but today I'll be commentating. I'm joined by series head Christoph Böse, can't pronounce his name, but hello Christoph.
Hi Alex, it's a pleasure to be here and the pronunciation was good.
Good enough, I'll take that. Yes, so quite an exciting race lined up tonight. Oliver Gibson can clinch the championship if he finishes, I believe, 6th. So closest championship rival, which is Jace Merrick, which is not sure how many points he is behind, but even if he wins, all Gibson has to do is finish in 6th position for him to take the championship. So, you know, we've seen the last 4 races now he's won. So there's a very, very good chance that we could see a new Challenger Split champion this round today here at Suzuka. Just in the first 14 minutes or so of qualifying, our timing is not coming up yet. We'll have an idea of that shortly as drivers start to circulate around the track. We ride on board with Kees Wilhelms, who is obviously the owner driver of Lion Racing, Gibson's team. They clinched the championship last time out at Kyalami at South Africa, quite dominantly. In fact, you know, I think with three rounds from the end of the season, and they've already claimed the championship as he rounds Spoon Curve now. Yeah, he must be on an outlap because his times aren't so good. Maybe in an in-lap actually. But we'll see. Unfortunately, as I said, the timing screen is the timing tower has not come up yet. But hopefully soon we'll get an idea of what the positions are. Obviously, during the first 15 minutes or so of qualifying, the times are going to be quite slow. As he comes into the pits, there must have been an in-lap. Yeah, the times are quite slow due to the track taking time to rubber in. As there we go, we have timing tower. Merrick currently in P2. Gibson not on there yet, and not sure how to pronounce this name. Christoph, you want to give it a go?
I think I'll skip that one.
Eduardo Semaria? I'm not very good with pronunciation, I'm afraid, but he is currently topping the timesheets with a 128.821, as a lot of cars are entering the pits. Very busy at the moment. Only 10th separates the top 3 cars at the moment, so very, very close times. As I said, the times will be much, much faster later on. Just these first few laps are getting the track rubbered in, getting the cars comfortable, well, getting the drivers comfortable with the cars for qualifying. Obviously, the tyre, we've discussed this last time out, the tyres have massively changed since the V3 update of the car. So I think every race this season up to now has basically been a 1-stop, but last time out, a few drivers tried the 2-stop, which definitely paid off for some drivers maybe not. But yeah, we'll see. I think we'll see a similar result here, because Suzuka is notoriously very, very high tyre wear. You can just see the high-speed corners as he comes around Spoon Curve again. The amount of load on the outside tyres is incredible, and you've got Sector 1, the S's, which was an incredible sequence of corners, but the tyres will not enjoy that. And yeah, I think we'll see. Not sure the strategy here. I don't know if you know anything about this, Christoph, what you've heard from other people, but I think maybe. Go on, sorry.
It's definitely tough on the tires, so it's definitely going to be a mix of 2-stop and 1-stops. The 1-stops only works with the C1 tire. We see a lot of people on C3, so one option would be to start on the C3 for the top runners, obviously, as the top 10 need to start on the qualifying tire. and then switch to C1. Or I suspect a two-stop with C2 and either C2 again or C3 again will be pretty much the only options I see available for this race today.
Yeah, now here at Formula Trout we do have all tyres available. However, as we've usually seen, it's not practical to try run the softer tyres. You might be able to run the C. Sorry, I just had something happen then. Sorry. You might be able to run the C4 tyres in qualifying, but it's probably not going to pay off for the race. So, I mean, if you're out of position, I suppose you could try it. I don't know if we've seen anyone this season actually try that. Someone who is usually outside the top 10 who can't start on the softer tyre. Sorry, who can start on any tyre, because obviously only the top 10 has to start on the qualifying tyre. Yeah, no one's really done that so far.
I don't think I've seen a single C5 used this season, or maybe one, but I can't remember. But usually the last races, the trend has been going towards the C3 tyre, the yellow walled.
Yeah, as we see, I think most of the drivers on the C3s at the moment. We did discuss, as Wilhelm sets our pole position there with a 28.5. Yeah, we did discuss some drivers might try the C2s in qualifying and then do C2, C1, but yeah, it looks like most drivers, in fact, are currently on the C3 tyre.
I see Case actually, who's currently not Case, Williams. William Knowles is on C2 tyre, who's currently P9.
Yeah, currently in the pit lane. Yeah, but yeah, I think some drivers will try it definitely. As Merrick's gone fastest, and as Semaria, I'm really sorry if we're pronouncing this wrong, has gone just 200ths behind him, so very, very close times at the top so far. I don't think we've seen him at any other rounds. I could be wrong. You're probably a good person to ask.
He is driving for Concord, which was re-entered just the previous race where he wasn't attending. So no, I think that's the first time we see him here here in Formula Trout.
So definitely impressive time so far. Saying, showing I'm here, I'm at the top of Challenger Split already. Maybe he wants to place in Master Split. We've seen this before with other drivers. I think Miradi, who's currently dominated the Master Split, started in the Challenger Split last season. Only did 1 or 2 rounds there, but definitely made an impact on those 1 or 2 rounds. So I think Ward as well, Samuel Ward this season did the same, started in a Challenger Split, completely dominated his first race and then went right up to Master Split. So it's something we've seen before. The times he's setting so far are definitely competitive. Panjatopoulos in the other Concorde car looks like he's gone off at the hairpin. Easy to mess up the brakes there. He's super hard braking after the second Degner under the bridge. Seems to be going okay, but ruined his qualifying so far. Well, ruined his current lap, I should say.
At 7 more minutes, he should definitely get at least 1 more lap. 2 if he's quick, maybe.
That's one of our camera views before 1:30 shows us a lovely view of the Assetto Corsa crowd there. As Gibson finally sets a time on the board. I was worried he wasn't here. Yes, that's a 1:28.3, just 3/10 behind Merrick. Now, I'm not sure on what Gibson will be thinking. Obviously, he's got a very, very big buffer in the championship, but does he want to win it in style? Does he want to take pole position, win the race every lap led, or is he happy finishing, 3rd, 4th, all he needs to win the championship, keeping it safe? I mean, we've seen it before. I mean, he's got so much of a points gap that drivers can have bad rounds. We've seen it in the Premier Series a few seasons ago. You can have a few bad rounds even with the massive buffer, and it just doesn't matter. As long as you come back and have a decent result, you can't guarantee the other driver's going to do well either. And yeah, I think I think one of the seasons we saw, it was season 5 with or season 6 with Hammerlink and Magzire at the last round. Ended up with Hammerlink having a really, really disappointing last 2 races of the season, a DNF and maybe another DNF it was, or maybe low, like 6th place or something. So yeah, Magzire clinched that championship by quite the margin. Not sure if we'll see that today. Obviously, Gibson third position is still a great job, still ahead of however many other drivers there are on the grid today in Challenger Split. But we'll see as he comes into the pits. So yeah, just an in-lap. We'll go on board with Merrick now. Goes through the S's, super high speed. Rounds Dunlop flat in qualifying in these cars, super fast. Goes into Degner 1, little lift, downshift. Yeah, so really pushing. You see he's 4/10 up, so the track must be a little extra grip as he goes into the hairpins. Very heavy braking, late as you can, turning the car in. Now, I'm not sure if you've been driving the track at all. Obviously, I'm as driver in Master Split, so I've been doing a lot of practice around this track, and compared to last season, I find some of the corners much easier. The hairpin last season was very tricky on the brakes, but this season it's much easier. Before, the rear would get really loose on entry, but it seems to be a lot more stable this time round, which is surprising with the lack of rear downforce these cars have. Obviously, we have had the last season to get used to it, but there's a definitely thing as Wilhelm set pole position with an identical time to Merrick. Obviously, Merrick is currently on his lap as he comes into the Casio triangle. Clips the right curve, clips the left curve, clean exit, so we'll see what time he can do. There's 4 minutes 40 seconds, so should have another run, but yeah, so Merrick goes 5/10 in front of Wilhelms. Wilhelms matches him, and then Merrick just puts his mark there. I'm 5/10 faster than you, you know. Really great lap so far. We'll see if anyone else can improve. I'm not sure if you have the timing available, Christoph, but is Gibson on a lap, do you know? Doesn't seem to be.
I think he's on an out lap. He should start his lap any minute now.
We'll see what Gibson can do as he leaves the last corners. Cron goes P5, 28.7. Not a bad finish for him. Obviously, last time out in Kailami, he had quite a strong qualifying, strong start to the race, and then just had some issues during the race and fell down.
Cron is also on C2 tire. Everyone else is, as far as I can see, on C3.
Definitely one to watch there for the race then if he's qualified on those C2s. He'll be able to go much longer in that first stint. Gibson rounds the first sector now through the S's. See what the split time is as he comes around Dunlop. Just 10th off Merrick at the moment. But obviously still time. There is traffic in front of him. Wonder if this all gets out of the way cleanly. So good to see into the hairpin. Keeps it tidy. Obviously it's quite a long lap here, so there's plenty of space, corners to make the difference. But then again, plenty of corners to make a little mistake, have a little wiggle, and lose 2-3 tenths out of corner. Spoon's a very critical corner. Very high speed on entry. Bleed the speed throughout, and then try to get the power down as early as possible. But you don't want to run wide because that can really compromise you for the whole straight. Yes, he's a 10th up now. Oh, there's traffic in front of him as he comes through the final corner. Might just compromise him a little. As one of the cars spins off in front of him. We'll see what time he does. That was Cron spinning off, but that puts Gibson P2, so just over a 10th behind Merrick. Yeah, I think that was Cron at the last corner, spinning round in front. I'm not sure if that affected Gibson too much. Obviously, he might have had to back off, or the dirt air might have affected him through the last corner or so. But then again, he might have got a big toe down that final straight. So, yeah, well, interesting to ask him about that after the race. He does feel like he was affected by that. Still time if he could set another lap, I suppose. 2 minutes left in qualifying now.
Yes. But I think Gibson's done with that.
Yeah, definitely. Unless he has enough fuel in the tank to do another lap, charge the batteries and get round again. Yeah, that looks like it will be Gibson's final lap. So that's a 1:27.6. As Arthur just went 5th fastest to 1:23. 1.231 off Merrick in P1.
Case should also be starting his lap soon.
Merrick comes over the line to start his final timed lap. Obviously he has pole position at the moment, but will he be able to improve? on the C3 tyres like most of the other runners, so not really trying to take any chances there. He'll C3, probably C1 maybe to the end of the race, or maybe a 2-stop, C2, C2, we'll see. Yeah, so Gibson in the pits now, so that's his final lap. He won't be able to get out again.
As Merrick goes purple in Sector 1.
Yeah, very, very impressive lap time there. Sector 1 there. If he can improve even further, obviously there is other cars that could take it. As you said, Willems is on a lap. Is our man in C3, P3, is he on a lap? Semaria? How do you pronounce that? No? Yes?
I don't, I don't know. I'm bad with pronunciation as well.
Merrick comes round 130R, was up on his time still, so last corner, last 5 seconds, 3 seconds. Won't be able to do another lap, but obviously he's just finishing his fast lap now. Checkered flag is out. 127.489 to beat. Does he go? Yes, 127.2. So really fast lap time there. 4 tenths ahead of his
Keep an eye on
Gibson.
Case. He's also on a fast lap. His middle sector was very good.
Willems, yeah, starting the last lap. Car just went wide at the last corner there. Does Willems improve? Yes, a P2 for Willems there. 127.5 behind Merrick, but in front of his teammate. Now, obviously,
I keep an eye on Eduardo Samaria, because he is also about to come around the corner.
our new driver, what can he do? Oh, pole position for Samaria. Fantastic job. Just 4 hundredths in front of Merrick there, but fantastic job. 127.172 on his debut in a Challenger split, so fantastic job. Obviously, qualifying's not over yet. There's a few other drivers coming around. Kron is just coming around on his final lap. What will he be able to do? Don't think he'll be able to. No,
P5.
That's P5. Not a bad job. 128.2. Owens went off at the last corner there. A bit of a mistake. But seems to be going okay, as I think just a few more drivers to finish their laps now. But that is Eduardo Semaria on pole position for Suzuka. So fantastic job there. Did not expect that. But yeah, Merrick critically is 2 positions in front of Gibson. So if Gibson does not get away well, which, I mean, he's been okay every race this season pretty much. He's been managed to keep it out of trouble and have those clean starts where it's needed. But Merrick is in front, which, never rule him out. You've seen stranger things have happened as the championship goes on. No guarantee that it will be Gibson winning at this race. Actually 4 tenths behind Merrick, so very, very close times at the top. Now, as we were saying, most cars were on the C3, but you did say Kron is on the C2, and it does look like he is in P5. So, just a second off pole position times, but he's on the much slower tyre, which will last a lot longer in the race.
It'll be interesting to see if he can get away, if he can hold onto his position for the first few laps, because I think, because the temperature window is also better for the C2 tyre, if he can hold onto his position, I'm pretty sure he's in a good place for the race overall, even.
Definitely.
And challenge for a podium, because I think the strategy he will be aiming for is definitely a 1-stop. Everyone else, I'm not so sure about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as you say, the initial getaway is quite critical on those C2 tyres. You'll have a little less grip, so the run down to the first corner will be very, very important. But yeah, they have a wider temperature window, which might help running in the traffic. If he's stuck behind some cars, maybe, even though, yeah, he's on the longer lasting tyre, the slower tyre, C3 does go off very, very fast. So he might end up to be faster than the cars in front quite quickly. I think some drivers were saying the C3 tyres are only faster around 5 laps before they drop off, which is crazy when we think people would do 15, 20 laps on those C3 tyres at the races before this.
Ultimately, it comes down to what strategy people aim for, because we have 35 laps, so 7 to 8 laps on the C3 tyre is realistic if we do a 2-stop, or if someone does a 2-stop. It'll be interesting how it plays out.
Yeah, it definitely will be. It'll be, as we said, Kron's definitely one to watch out for on those tyres. I think, obviously, that poleman is definitely one to watch out for. Really impressive debut so far. He can clean down to the first corner. Merrick behind. Unfortunately, the last few races has not been able to keep it clean in the last few laps and has made some mistakes, unfortunately, when it's counted for the championship. But front row start for him in P2 for BAC Racing is a very good job. And then Lioneers 3rd and 4th, Gibson critically P4. All he needs is P6 to clinch the championship at this round. So it's looking good for him so far, but 35 laps to go. See how it ends. We'll see how it ends up. 15 seconds to lights out now as the lights come out to illuminate the 6 red lights we have in Assetto Corsa, obviously. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and the 6th. And it's lights out for the Formula Trout League at Suzuka. A great start for Merrick in P2 as he looks to be looking to the inside for P1. Or just backs off, doesn't want to risk it. That allows Wilhelms up into P2. Looks like the grid's mostly managed to get through cleanly. Gibson still P4 as they head into the first sector. Some movement further back in the positions, but we'll see through this first sector. The car's really struggling to follow as the dirty air, but Gibson right behind Merrick. Might not be able to make a move into Degner 1, but we'll see what he can do. Yeah, just too far back, but seems to be clean through lap 1 so far. Head of the hairpin, Gibson might have a look down the inside, thinks better of it. Merrick right up behind his teammate. Oh, right up behind Gibson's teammate, and that allows Gibson to get alongside on the exit. Obviously, Merrick goes in deep, but allows to get the better exit as now he looks for his teammates. He's alongside. Yeah, backs off. So we're seeing lots of moves getting alongside, but then just has to back out due to the really high-speed nature of this circuit. We ride on board with Gibson through 130 hours. He's on the inside of Merrick now. Oh, side by side for championship contenders through 130R, but Merrick looks to be able to hold on. Yeah, he has the inside line as we've got a car spinning in the background. Looks like Thomas Marshall there, who was quite high up in P6, which was a great job, but yeah, looks like a mistake there as Jace defends the inside line.
It was round the
What
outside.
amazing move there. Oh, that was sorry, a lot of action on that first lap, and yeah, that was really impressive move from Gibson there. Obviously a lot on the line, there's a lot at stake for Gibson, and still all that pressure, all the the championship in his head, managed to go around the outside of his championship rival at round turn 1. Really impressive move there.
I thought we see 2 cars in a wall. Really brave move he pulled off there, and a lot of trust he put into Jace.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see that there wasn't any contact, and yeah, really amazing job. But up in front, Eduardo Semaria leading with 6/10 to Wilhelms behind, not doing a bad job. Kron, who we talked about earlier, who was on the C2 tyres, dropped to P7, so not had the best start there on those C2s. Long way to go. Yeah, we're only on lap 2, but yeah, maybe not working out exactly the way he wanted so far. See the field coming through the Casio triangle here. Merrick's still right behind Gibson, so managing to keep up. Then a bigger gap just where we had the incident earlier on. Allowed this field to spread out a little bit. Yeah, Wilhelm still in P2 after that quite good start. Managed to get in front of Merrick, and then yeah, Merrick just dropped behind Gibson after that really impressive overtake. But Wilhelm's keeping up with poleman Samaria here, so even through the S's with the dirty air. So I'm not sure if maybe he's just struggling maybe with heat in the tyres, the Samaria here, because track's super high, and we said it's very high degradation. You can get the tyre pressures wrong, as we've got a yellow flag out for Robbie Arthur in P5, who's dropped it on the exit of Degner 2.
Shame, he was in a good position. I think he started on P6.
Yeah,
Around there.
he was doing very well, but yeah, unfortunately dropped it. I'm not sure if he has any damage. We'll have to keep an eye out as One of the solo drivers has gone round, and that's... Who was that? Did...
I don't know.
I'm not sure who that was, but we just had 2 drivers go off at the hairpin.
William Knowles.
Ah, yes. So Knowles with... Yeah, dropped it on the exit of the hairpin, then Peters went round as well behind. Really unfortunate there, but Merrick still just 6, so he was 3 tenths behind, now 6 tenths behind, so maybe not the exit he wanted out that last corner. Top 4, very, very close, just 2.5 separating the top 4 so far.
One aspect we haven't mentioned yet is ERS management, because Suzuka is one of the tracks where you recover less energy than you can deploy over the whole lap, so you need to cut it down at some point.
Yeah, very, very good point. I was mentioning tyre temperatures with the top 2, but yeah, that could be a very, very valid point. Arthur and Marshall must pit for damage earlier on. Yeah, the ERS management is very, very critical here. I think it's 6 megajoules do we have to play with, or 8?
4.
4 megajoules, or even less than. Yeah, in a very, very high-speed track like this, you're going to be deploying for a lot of the straights. So, yeah, Willems might be deploying a lot of that. Obviously, didn't quite have the pace for a pole in the qualifying, but yeah, managing to keep up with P1 so far, keeping him honest at least. Keeping him
Robbie
honest.
Arthur and Thomas Marshall, the cars who pitted, are on C1 tire now. Same as William Knowles, who also crashed.
Need to keep an eye out on them. Obviously, the C1 tyres do last a very long time. They used to last the whole race. Not sure if they still will last the whole race.
I'm very sorry, William Knowles is not on C1. He started on this tire.
Ah, okay. The DRS is now enabled as well, just to note. So Merrick had the DRS on Gibson through down to turn 1, just 4 tenths behind in the S's, but we'll see the effect of dirty air here. 4 tenths on the entry. Is he able to keep it behind? Drops back, manages to keep it quite close, but this will be hurting his tyres, you know, raising the temperature, getting a little extra wear. Might have to pit a bit earlier, but you know, we'll see how it goes. He's managed to keep up so far. Again, just 2.5 seconds separating our top 4, which is very, very good to see. Very, very close racing so far. Maybe no overtakes, but a lot of pressure to handle. I've been in that position myself. It's not very, very nice at all to have, you know, 3-4 cars following you, trying to get past you when they really, really want to just get past you, move on. You're just an obstacle in their way, but yeah, the pace is very similar so far.
The S's are really fun to drive, all the high-speed corners, but they're really bad for racing, because following is very hard. You can't really go side by side when you just lift off the throttle.
Yeah, we've seen that at a few races before. You know, a driver can back off through a corner and then there's just nothing you can do. You still can't overtake. We've seen in real-life Formula 1, obviously, Abu Dhabi last season. We had Perez defending against Hamilton for Verstappen's championship, and I think Perez was 6 seconds a lap slower, and Hamilton still couldn't pass, just because if you can lift in certain corners, go slow in certain corners, and there's just nothing the car behind can do. But yeah, Willems just 5 tenths behind E1 now, so yeah, just 3 tenths behind, so even able to close through the S's there. Right on his gearbox now as we come through Degna 2 into the hairpin. Might look to the inside, but probably too far to be able to do anything.
But he's still defending a little bit. He pulls out to the side. He's not entirely on the outside.
A little wobble for P1 there as Case looks to the outside into Spoon as Cron apparently takes the lead. That's not correct. It's a side-by-side through Spoon and they touch. Very, very, very close racing there. Just Case tries to go around the outside, but will have the draft now into 130R. Looks to the inside. Side by side through 130R into the Casio triangle. Temaria on the inside. Tries to push him off, but he's still there, still alongside. Case maybe a little bit of oversteer, but look how close Gibson is now.
Yeah, all the time they are fighting, they're going side by side. Gibson is gaining on them, and it looks like Case is through already.
Willems goes
Way ahead.
through. Even before turn 1, manages to get in front of Samaria with the DRS, but that puts Gibson just 2 tenths behind. Really, really great move from Willems there. We did talk about ERS management, maybe just dump that battery there to get in front of Samaria there, and yeah, it's allowed him to take the lead, so fantastic jump from Case. We'll see if Gibson can do anything. He's just 3 tenths behind, but obviously they were fighting, which allowed Gibson to close in, and then Merrick only 5 tenths behind who goes as well. And not able to do anything this time round.
It's not the first time we've seen people do very good in qualifying and then they just couldn't keep it up in the race. Myself being a very good example of that.
Yeah, obviously a qualifying lap's very, very different to a solid race lap. You know, the car feels very different. You've got different tyres, different fuel levels. Willems defending the inside there, even though he has a 6/10 gap to Samaria behind. So weaves to break the toe. Gibson just 3 tenths behind. Will have the DRS, but then Samaria critically will have the DRS on Willems as well if he's able to get a good exit.
It's so close, you should have it even without the with the double DRS. Just because of the slipstream.
Samaria weaves to break the slipstream. Gibson looks to the inside into turn 1, manages to have the inside line, and yep, there it is, Gibson through into P2. As we've seen many times this season, we now have a Lioneers 1-2. Didn't end up in qualifying Lioneers 1-2, but yeah, Lioneers 1-2 on lap 8 of Suzuka. So yeah, the ideal race for Gibson here. And Merrick, his championship rival, behind Samaria now, so he's going to have to overtake and hope something happens to Gibson, because all Gibson needs is P6 to take the championship. And I'm sure Willems, if needed, would let Gibson through for the championship. We've seen them worked really, really well as a team. Ooh, Samaria looked to the inside there briefly on Gibson. Not sure if Gibson was slowing up because of his teammate in front. Yeah, all our cars are on the same tyre here, all on the C3s, all similar fuel loads. Here, you know, we run the RSS Formula Hybrid. Every car's identical, bar the setup, bar the driver. So as they come down the back straight into 130R again, Samaria is very, very close as Gibson was last time round.
I think maybe we have Jace Merrick also joining in this fight, because he's just looking to pounce at it behind him. Ooh, he's very close now.
Oh, it's Gibson pits. That's a very early pit stop. We did talk about the C3 tyres dropping after maybe 3 laps, but Merrick now on the back of Samaria had a bad exit. That allows Merrick to get through into P2. Gibson pitting though onto the, I assume, might be the C1 tyre. We've seen other cars on the C1 tyre, but early pit stop for Gibson might be able to undercut his teammate there. I was kind of
Gibson on the C1.
Yeah, so Gibson might be looking for a one-stop there. Got to run 25, 26 laps on those tyres, but see where he comes out. It comes out in P6 in clean air as well. 6 seconds. Oh, we just... I think Willems just made a mistake. We just clipped away and Willems has gone off into Degner 1 through Dunlop.
It's a very, very... it's a place where you need to be very careful. The inside curb of Degner 1 is really deadly. You're almost going flat out there. You just lift and throw the car in. If you clip it just a little bit too much, you can go wide.
Yeah, super unfortunate. The opposite of commentator's curse there, I suppose. We switched away from the lead battle only for Willems to make a mistake. Yeah, so that's allowed Samaria back into the lead after being shuffled back. Gibson came out in P6 with the 5-second gap, so the undercut... We did say the undercut on his teammate's made a mistake, so he's almost guaranteed to be in front of him now. But will he be able to build the gap between Samaria and Merrick? Do they come into the pits? No, they stay out another lap, so they're clearly happy with their tyres. Yeah, we'll see what Willems does. Merrick
Gibson definitely has a fast middle sector, so the undercut should be happening if they don't pit this lap.
Yeah, Merrick just looked to the outside there into turn 1, not able to do anything, so stuck behind, well, maybe not stuck behind, but going to be losing time behind Samaria for another lap. Willems, his teammate, has pitted. He did have that incident as we see Gibson go through there. Wilhelm's still in the pits, so maybe
He's
fixing
on C1,
damage.
2.
Yeah, so, oh, C2, so that must be a 2-stop. I can't see him
sorry,
going to the
C1.
end. C1, okay.
Yeah, I looked at the monitor, it said C1, C1 was in my mind, but yeah, I said C1, 2, should have said C1 as well.
Yeah, so that must be Wilhelm's looking for a 1-stop. Both the Lioneers cars looking for a 1-stop there. Wilhelm's had that damage to repair after the incident, and that's dropped into P8 behind K and Moreno. Not good at pronunciation, sorry. Yeah, Merrick, lap 10 of 35, right behind Semaria for P1, looking to try maybe make the overtake into the Casio Triangle, flap through 130R, tucked up right behind. Semaria doesn't defend the inside, but Merrick not able to do anything. Oh, has he touched? Oh, Merrick just loses the rear as I think he just made contact with the rear of Semaria there as he goes round. Probably will look to pit now, yeah, so both cars in the pits. So yeah, Merrick, we've seen this before. We saw this at Kyle Army. Carries a little bit extra speed through the corner and just managed to touch the car in front of him. No real big issue there. Maybe lost 2-3 seconds, but yeah, straight in the pit lane. But Gibson coming through now, down to turn 1, will be clear in front of both the cars. As we see Semaria exiting the pits just behind, Merrick just behind him again. So yeah, perfect for Gibson as he basically inherits the lead so far. Got Mason Owens in P1. Obviously he hasn't pitted yet. Oh, as he runs wide through Dunlop. Mason Owens inherits the lead so far, has not pitted, and Cron, who, as he runs right through Degner 2. Gibson's through, so that's Owens down to P3. Gibson back up into P2. Keep in mind he's pitted and he's just a second behind the P1 driver Cron now, who is on the C2 tyres. So we did mention those C2 tyres do go a little longer, could pay off, and he has claimed the lead and probably won't have to pit for the next 5 laps or so. This really could be a problem for Gibson.
Maybe he has tested the C2 very, very a very, very long stint. It will switch back to the C3 later. That could also be possible. I see everyone who pitted so far is on the C1 tire, so the 2-stop might not happen after all.
So we'll see what Cron can do on those C2s. Wilhelm's just behind James K. He's on the much fresher tyres, much faster pace. Wilhelm's will have right behind through the Casio Triangle. Is he able to... Yeah, this must be a pretty guaranteed move. He'll have the DRS, he'll have the slipstream, just 2/10 behind. Looks to the inside. Yeah, and he's passed even before turn 1, so that's Wilhelm's up into P6 behind Merrick, behind the rest of the cars yet to pit other than Cron and Owens. Gibson, as we said, might have trouble with Cron, who's on the C2 tyres, the little longer life. Just 3/10 behind, so he's closing. I think he was 2 seconds a lap faster than Cron that last time round, but yeah, Cron really making it hard for Gibson here. Defends the inside into the hairpin, doesn't get the best exit, allows Gibson to get alongside. Gibson will have the inside line for Spoon, and it looks like he's already in front. Yeah, so Gibson already in front before Spoon into the lead again. Cron, nothing really to answer for on those older C2 tyres. Yeah, obviously Semaria is what's that, 4 seconds behind. So unless Gibson makes a mistake, reasonable gap already for Gibson.
Unfortunately, I think for Cron it is best if he just does not fight, because he's on a different strategy. He has his own race, so fighting loses him time as well.
Yeah, definitely. Now he's on the C2s and he can fight, but as you said, is it worth fighting? As Owens pits and Merrick's right behind Semaria as he defends the inside. Oh, Merrick goes off. Merrick goes off at turn 1 into the gravel, keeps it out the wall, but again, just, you know, fighting as he slides again. Grass on the tyres allowed Wilhelms through. Disaster there for Merrick. critically. You know, he's fighting for the positions, little mistake, and yeah, that's dropped in behind Willems, behind Gibson, behind Samaria. Yeah, not ideal. Obviously, for his championship hopes, he needs to win, and Gibson needs to finish lower than 6th. But so far, we've got Merrick in 5th, and Gibson in the lead with a very, very large margin now, 4 or 5 seconds to the cars behind. Oh,
he got off again.
Yeah, I think one of the laps. Sorry, one of the cars there. One of the. Sure, what team this is? Apologies, I don't keep up with. Kings R, yeah. I think one of the lapped cars was trying to get out the way and just threw Merrick off a little bit as he ran wide. That's allowed James K, which is the other Kings R car, but on the lead lap through. So Merrick won't be happy with that. We've seen Merrick can be quite an emotional driver at times, quite reasonably so. But yeah, Merrick won't be happy with that. I'll be quite right behind K now. We wanted to get right past in front. Behind his helmet will not be the happiest of faces, I'm sure. Yeah, so
I'm not sure if he has had if it was the back markers, if it was the dirty tires, or if the tires were still overheating, because I feel like this is people don't just make one mistake. If they go off 2 or 3 times in a quick succession.
Yeah, we've seen before. You know, you heat the tires up. I think one of the cars at Catalunya, was it? I think it was Willems at Catalunya, wasn't it? He had the spin on the one tyres and then just round and round and round and round, a spinning top basically for a whole lap trying to get back to the pits. And nothing you can really do. Oh, it's Gibson again makes a little mistake on the exit of Degnan 2 under braking, following in the dirty air, just locks the rears. This might allow Mangini in front. Yeah, so Mangini for Team Canada, I believe that is, in front into the hairpin past Merrick. Disaster for Merrick, dropping from fighting for P3 all the way down to P7.
Realistically, I think Merrick needs to pit again, because obviously he can't keep it on track with these tires.
Yeah, as Merrick goes through, Mangini runs a little wide. Not sure if he was spooked by Merrick looking to the inside there, but that's allowed him to get back into P6. But yeah, he's dropped 10, 15 seconds on the front 3 cars there as Gibson in P1, just building that gap to Cron, who critically has yet to pit. As Samaria looks around the outside, makes the move around the outside of turn 1, so Cron down to P3 again, as we said, yet to pit, but running a different strategy to the rest of the cars.
He's almost halfway there. I wonder if he actually goes back to the C3.
There's definitely a possibility. We saw some of the cars running 10 laps or so, 15 laps maybe is possible. Some cars are still on the track. There's Spencer Owens pits now. I'm not sure what position he pitted from, but Knowles has lost it in the pit entry there.
That's painful.
The wall.
Very...
Gets it going. He goes, but yeah, that's into the pit lane. Obviously not really what you want to do. Not sure if he was planning to pit or he just made a mistake and has decided to pit for the damage. But
it's very easy to lose it in the last corner. You accelerate as you turn as much as you can, but also as little as you need, because the rail is very slippy. It's a very clumsy place to lose it as you go sideways.
And as the tyres wear, it just gets easier and easier to do that. You give it the same amount of throttle every lap. You know, you may think it'll be okay, but eventually the tyres are going to drop to a point where you're just going to spin. Merrick comes onto the back straight now. I think the short circuit passes the short circuit's pit lane, which I've never actually seen used in real motor racing. Can't say I've watched too many races at Suzuka, but it's there for whenever someone needs to use it.
I think they have a Western. There's multiple layouts of Suzuka. One where you will cut back into or before the chicane, and also like a layout where the back straight after spoon is the start finish straight.
Ah, there you go. The more you know. Just a point of note, so Cron has pitted now. He's on the C1, so that's quite a late pit stop actually for starting on the C2s. Will really be pushing now for the rest of the race compared to the other cars on the C1s. K, who was in front of Merrick, looked like Merrick was just about to make a move on K, has actually pitted, just peeled off in front of Merrick, and has allowed Merrick into free air, so might be able to start working his way towards Willems, but Yeah, he's got a big 9 seconds gap to Willems, which is really unfortunate after those mistakes he made. But you know, no car is immune to a mistake. We might see position swapping later on. But Kron actually is 10 seconds behind Merrick and has just pitted around 5-6 laps later. Might be able to. Merrick might be under pressure from Kron by the end of the race. As we did just see Kron running wide at the hairpin. Not really ideal what you want to do on your outlap. Yeah, Gibson in P1 has a 5.5 second lead on Samaria now, setting similar lap times, but 17 laps to go basically, 18 laps to go, half distance we are pretty much, and Gibson so far, going perfect essentially for his championship. More than perfect. All he needs is 6th and he's in 1st.
That looks like a proper win to celebrate a championship.
Definitely. We've seen in the real Formula 1, we've seen quite a lot of championships decided at Suzuka. In the 90s, you know, you had Damon Hill and I think 2 other drivers, but yeah, Hill managing to win at Japan to claim his championship, which
Frost and Senna.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, how can I forget those? Yeah, Suzuka really, you know, has been a championship deciding circuit in real motorsport quite often, and here today at in Formula Trout does seem to be like going Gibson's way so far. Meanwhile, Merrick P4 is closing in on Willems a little bit, but will it be enough? Not for his championship, but maybe for the podium.
Gibson and Samaria both are personal best in the middle sector, so both are still pushing for it. Let's see if anyone makes a mistake, because we are just about halfway there. There's still a lot of there's still a lot of time to make mistakes, as tires wear a lot, even the hardest ones.
Yeah, definitely. Owens here, Spencer Owens just behind Stephen Hepner here for the final points paying positions. I'm not 100% if both cars have pitted yet. Apologies, but I have not quite kept track of the cars further down the order, their tyre strategies.
Luca Mangini is the only one yet to pit in the top 10.
Oh, Mangini just pitted. So Mangini in the pits now. He was running P5, I think, or P6. We'll see where he comes out. Owens right behind Hepner here. Hepner's on the C3 tyres, it looks like, so I don't know what strategy Hepner's doing. Maybe a C2, C3, I'm not sure.
So Mangini switched from the C2 to the C3 tyre.
Jagger came out just in front of... Oh, I think that's a lapped car. I think that's Marshall a lap down. But yeah, so C2 to C3, he'll have 16 laps, 17 laps on those C3s to get to the end. I don't think that would be possible. I'd like to see it, but any thoughts on that?
It will be a real stretch, that's for sure.
Yeah, we saw Gibson, who's currently leading, pitting on lap 8 on the C3s. Now, Mangini would have 16 laps to go on those C3s, so it'd be double the distance to go on the same tyre. Now, the fuel load would be lower, but I don't really think it would make enough of a difference.
I mean, then again, it's a Challenger split, which is known for interesting strategies, let's put it this way, as we saw in... Was it the last season or the season before, where we had someone use the C4 tyre, the second softest compound, for 3/4 of the race?
Oh, is that how? Oh, well.
Was it Leo? I think it was Leo, but I could
Was that
be
our
wrong there.
C4? If I remember correctly, we had a C4 tyre, which resulted in a disqualification. Because obviously you have to run both tyres, and he ran the softest tyre, which probably wasn't the best strategy, and only used that tyre, so ended up in a disqualification.
Yes, that is exactly the race I'm talking about. Strangely, he didn't pit in the middle of the race. He did almost 3/4 of it, and I thought he would switch to the C5 tyre, to the softest tyre, but he didn't.
Well, yeah, we do say, Challenger Split is for the new drivers, the drivers that want to learn, want to progress up to Master Split. Maybe not all of them. Maybe some of them are happy racing here, but yeah, some of them learning the craft as it is, and yeah, maybe not making the most conventional strategy decisions. Might pay off sometimes, but yeah, did not pay off that time. Gini running P8 on those C3 tyres, right behind James K in P7. Ooh, getting very, very close around Spoon. If he could just slingshot the exit, no, has to back off just behind K. Is he carrying so much more speed there? Looks to the inside into 130R, as we've seen so many cars do so far this race. Oh, as they touch! Huge crash for K there. Manages to keep it out the wall. Oh, is he? No, definitely not. K with huge damage. Don't know if K turned in on Mangini there, or Mangini just went out wide, but yeah, looks like damage for K as he drops it there, gets in the way of a few cars. Not really his fault. It must have suspension damage, I think, because yeah, K just going round and round, just trying to make it back to the pits.
That just hurts to watch.
Yeah, as he comes into the pit lane
Tires are
now.
going to be really hot. The tires are probably dirty. Let's hope he doesn't spin again on pit entry.
Yeah, I think he's in okay now, but yeah, disaster for K there. He was running a quite reasonable race up into a good position there, and just contact with Mangani through the fastest corner on the track, 130R. You know, this ruthless corner, flat out in these modern F1 cars at 300 kilometers an hour, and yeah, just almost pit maneuver right round, similar to a Formula 1, Verstappen Hamilton at Copse, similar type of incident, just flicks you around and then crash at that speed. What can you do, really? You're just going straight into the wall. So yeah, huge impact for A there in sim racing, thankfully, with no injuries in sim racing, and he's able to keep going. But yeah, he's dropped down to P14 now after running in P6, so or P7 I should say. So unfortunate to see. Merrick is actually only 3.6 seconds behind Willems here, so I'm not sure if Willems made a mistake or Merrick's just been putting in really fast lap times. I've not been keeping track.
Jace was actually gained 2 seconds on Willems' last lap around.
See Willems just in front, stuck behind some lap traffic. Must have cost him even more time there. As Merrick will have to navigate the traffic now, as they're having a race of their own in front. I believe that's Davlianidze and Knowles, potentially. They're very close on track. Not saying for certain that's who it is, but could be.
I'm just checking.
Yes, that is Davlianidze and Knowles in P12 and P13 having a fight of their own. Meanwhile, Merrick wants to get through, manages to get through okay, both cars, doesn't lose too much time to Willems, only 1.8 seconds behind Willems. So, not...
Oh, there was more contact, that was chicane.
Oh yes, Davlianidze's just gone round, I think just hit the rear diffuser of Knowles in front. Yeah, that's dropped into P14 behind K, who just had that huge accident through 130R, but yeah, Merrick, if we look, just 1.3 seconds behind Willems now, so closing every lap. Now I think Willems pitted a few laps earlier than Merrick on the C1s, but we wouldn't expect the tyres to have dropped off already.
Actually, only 1 lap difference.
Oh, only 1 lap.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well. But
now
the tyres shouldn't really make the difference.
I mean, the championship is very close between Willems and Merrick. Now, Merrick's unfortunately, he's gone from fighting for the championship to, maybe clinging on to P2 as it seems, with Willems in front. Currently 1 second in front, but critically will be gaining more points in the championship for P2, or in the fight for P2.
I mean, realistically, if it's with 3 races to go and he just needs P6, he only is going to need P6 again the next race and the race after, so it's not really... Well, let's just say it wasn't in Jason's hand to keep fighting in his championship anyway. But, yeah, you never know, as you say.
Merrick just behind, within DRS range now of Willems through the last corner, closed again 5/10 through that last few corners, so Willems must have an issue, must have damage or something, because he's so slow compared to Merrick.
He's going to go around the outside again, is he? No, he's not.
Not close enough this time round. Willem's going right to the inside there, quite unnecessarily. You know, Merrick not really close enough to be able to do anything. And yeah, Willems clings on for another lap, but so close behind now.
If he's smart, he would just try to recharge his battery if Jace really does have a pace advantage, and then try to steam past him with all the energy he has available. Because it looked like he wasn't gaining anything on the straight despite having DRS.
See how much he closes through the hairpin there. Oh, as he loses the rear.
Commentator's curse.
Merrick, another
Life
little
on board.
mistake. Just lights up the rear tyres out the hairpin. We've seen how easy it is to do that. You know, the
It's a back marker. Tries to unlap himself.
a bit of an awkward situation here for both cars. The back marker doesn't want to lose time. Merrick's made a mistake in front, but yeah, all the work Merrick did there, gaining those 8, 9, 10 seconds he had at the start of the pit stop window, and has just dropped down after that one tiny mistake. You know, little too much throttle, and yeah, he was gaining through the hairpin, loses it on the exit, and has to do that all over again. 11 laps to go. Not sure if he will be able to get close again.
8 seconds is a mighty gap, but as I said before, he closed 2 seconds within 1 lap, so it's not out of question he could close that gap by the end of the race.
Yeah, it's be interesting to see. I mean, 7.6, so he's already closed a little bit. Like I said just before that, I wonder if Willems has damage or something, because his pace has just dropped off dramatically at the start of the race. Willems was fighting for the lead. He took the lead, in fact. And now just running P3, you know, losing time to Merrick and P4. Obviously, both very quick drivers. They're not really a surprise that they're racing each other, but yeah, just Willems to not have the pace at this moment in time.
I mean, everyone has access to the full setup of the car, so everyone tries to get everything out of it. Maybe Willem's car just doesn't work with worn tires as well as the others. That could be a possibility. He could struggle with wear, or he made a mistake somewhere else. Currently, the leaders, Gibson and Samaria, or let's just say leaders, the front runners, are lapping in the mid-30s right now, whereas Willem's times are in the mid-31s. So he sure is in some trouble.
Yeah, look, Merrick just 6.5, so he actually caught around 2 seconds again that lap. So
Yeah, Merrick was lapping in the mid-29s.
yeah, so Merrick, fastest car on track before his mistake. Still, you know, one of the fastest cars on track with a 130 flat, so faster than the leaders in front.
1.5 faster than Case last time around, yeah.
Willems makes it through one of the lapped cars through the S's. Very difficult place to overtake here. Let flapped traffic through when you have the blue flag. There's lots of corners. Yeah, Willems seemingly struggling here. I mean, at Kyalami last time out in the Master Split race, I started on those C3 tyres and switched to the C2s. Or was it the C1s? C2s, I think it was. And I remember thinking just at the time how different the car felt. At the start of the race, the car was so pointy. Into turn 2, turn 3, you could really rotate the car. You know, you'd almost lose the rear. You had so much rotation. But then after the pit stop, when I went onto the C2s, the car was just understeering. You had to crank the wheel through the corner, and you're just asking for more. You know, more G's, more cornering, and you just didn't have anything else to give. You were just scrubbing the tyres at that point. So I wonder if Willems is struggling here with the balance of the car. Obviously, C1 to C3 to C1 tyres is a very big difference in grip levels. Yeah, Willems taking it very easy. You can just hear on the throttle. He's very slow, very gradual inputs. So
He's also pretty much the only one who didn't improve his time on the C1 tire. Everyone's best lap so far is on the C1 tire, whereas Case's time is on the high fuel C3 starting tire.
yeah, this is because Merrick just 5.5 behind. We said 9 seconds was a very big gap, but after only 2 laps, he's started to catch again very rapidly. I wonder perhaps if Wilhelms, after his crash, after the off, before the pit stops, maybe he did not fix the damage.
That could be.
Because we've seen before, you know, sometimes a driver might chance it to not fix the damage, because obviously you get a much faster pit stop doing that. You get track position, but that's not a guarantee that you'll be able to keep the position if you have track position. And maybe Merrick wasn't able to pass, but Merrick is getting very close again, just within 5 seconds now. Maybe only 3-4 more laps, and he'll be within DRS range again. And have 5 laps to be able to make the overtake that he needs.
We still have 10 laps to go, 9 laps to go.
Gibson currently starts lap 27, is 4.8 seconds roughly ahead of Samaria. Quite a reasonable gap, probably just managing the pace at this point in the race. Obviously he's definitely not taking it easy, but might not be pushing to his maximum, because there's no need. He has quite a reasonable gap to the car behind and able to manage it from this position.
Jace again 1 second faster last lap than Case.
Merrick obviously did drop it on the exit of the hairpin, but managed to keep it out of the wall. Just, you know, maybe damage to his pride, not to the car. But yeah, able to keep those rapid lap times in. Keep closing on Wilhelms, although 5.3 seconds actually the gap is now, so he's dropped a little bit, because I think it was around 4.9 seconds the lap before. Oh,
Yeah.
I know. Back up to 4.8, so I guess they're kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, Samaria and Gibson trading lap times, but not really in a significant level. Let's see what the lap times are this time around.
Yeah, there's 4.6 seconds as Gibson comes out the last corner. Only takes one little mistake from someone to that to change, but yeah, 30.4 from Gibson, 30.2 from Samaria, but that's not enough, nowhere near. What's that, 0.2 a lap? He's got 7 laps.
Exactly.
7 laps, that's only about 1.4, 1.5 seconds, so
I think Gibson is managing,
yeah.
whereas Samaria might actually be pushing everything he has. Just like Jace, who also does a low 30 again. Case Williams, 32 flat.
Not impressive lap times, just 3 seconds separating them now. So yeah, Wilhelm's still struggling, not able to get those lap times. Kron running P5, which isn't awful. Definitely, we did say he might be able to close in on the front group. Not really being able to do that. 15 seconds of the cars in front, but 7 seconds behind him. So he's gone from P8 to P5. Not a bad job so far. As Gibson comes around Spoon onto the back straight, keeping it clean within the white lines, which, you know, it's always good to do. We've seen some cars maybe pushing the limits a bit too far in the race and claiming penalties for that, but yeah, Gibson setting reasonable lap times, keeping it clean, keeping it smooth. Great job so far. Although Samaria just 4.2 seconds now, so yeah, Samaria definitely pushing to try catch. Sure if he'll be able to. 30.5 for Gibson that time round. 30.1 for Samaria. So 4/10 that lap. But still, you know, 6 laps to go. That's not enough to. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, 4 seconds.
Yeah, that's not enough.
Managing risk is not that easy, because you always think as a driver, yeah, I push as hard as I can, but that's usually not the smartest thing to do.
Well, we've seen, you know, some drivers pushing as hard as they can, push a little too hard, make a mistake, lose all that time, or the tyres drop off, and then they have to pit again. So, with this V3 car with the not improved tyre wear, the worsened tyre wear. They're not worse tyres, just have a more substantial cliff as the tyres do wear. You know, you could hit that, and then all your pace is going to drop off.
The Pirelli patch.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, Wilhelms comes behind another lapped car here. We saw that cost him before at the hairpin. Should get out the way, hopefully. Yeah, just pulls to the side there. Just after the hairpin before Spoon, Merrick should get round cleanly as well. Yeah, the lap car takes to the grass there, so both cars getting through without any hit to their lap times, and just 2 seconds between Willems and Merrick now. But then again, at the front, look, just 2.5 seconds to Gibson, so Semery are really pushing.
I think
Oh, Gibson made a mistake
in the middle sector somewhere, maybe around the hairpin where he was held up by the back marker. Because middle sector is like 1.5 seconds off.
Yeah, so said no one's immune to a mistake. Gibson, championship leader, in current position to win the championship, making that little mistake, which, you know, might another mistake and Semerita would be right behind him. Merrick again, 1.2 seconds faster that lap on Willems, just 1.4 seconds separating fourth and third now. Merrick from the podium. Gaps coming down all the time, almost within 1 second now through the S's, so yeah, Willems really struggling. Right, on board with Merrick as he comes into the Degnas. See the little car in front, well, not so little anymore as he gets very close through the Degnas, closing 0.2 seconds there alone.
So another back marker on the way in front of Willems.
There was. I think it might have pulled off to the side there, and we just missed it in the blind spot of the camera. Yeah, but Merrick just 0.6 seconds now. 0.6 tenths, 6 tenths to the car in front. He will have DRS, not on this straight, but the straight afterwards. Yeah, Willems looks to the inside, trying to break the slipstream. No need to do that. Really, you know, Merrick's too far behind to be able to do anything. Title to do it, of course, but yeah, Merrick just holds his line, closes through the final corner, will have DRS, probably too far back to be able to do anything. Willems again going to the inside. Merrick closed 1 second that lap, so if he can keep this up, he will be passed by the end of the lap. But as that's the saying goes, catching is one thing, passing is another, and Merrick's going to have to follow him all the way through Sector 1 now.
Especially since we saw Merrick had issues following through slow corners today 2 times, I believe.
Yeah.
So he really needs to keep it clean this time to get a podium.
Yeah, maybe just, you know, Merrick takes it a little bit more easy, just backs off, a bit more patient. I think, unfortunately for him, P2, P1, the championship are out of reach for him. But, yeah, the podium, definitely a chance if he's just patient. He's got 4 laps to make the move.
It's a little bit of wheel spin even in 4th gear. It's a very tricky corner to get out of.
Yeah, the cars have been on the tires have been on the car for almost 20 laps now. As Willems makes a little correction through Spoon, drops a little bit of time to Merrick. Not much closer though, Merrick, this lap round.
Just barely within 0.6. If you can keep it clear around the chicane, he could be close enough to start attack into turn 1.
So much later on the brakes through the final corner. Right behind Willems, but Willems gets a good exit. Will have the DRS, probably unable to do anything. Willems looks to the inside, weaves to break the toe again. The cars coming out the pit lane won't affect either of them. So Merrick's got to follow him around again.
Anything, even with DRS. The start of the straight he was 0.6 behind, at the end of the straight 0.5. I wonder if Case is running less wing, that's why he could be losing much time in the S's. But loses almost no time on the straight. Could be an explanation.
Potentially, but we saw Willems keeping up with the leaders at the start of the race, so odd to see, you know, such a dramatic change in lap time for the Lioneers car.
Still, it's a lot of pressure from Merrick, so maybe even Case makes a mistake.
Yeah. Neither driver here immune to mistakes. We've seen before, little slides, locks up the brakes maybe when they're trying to defend, and yeah, you can just lose the position without even able to do anything about it. But Merrick a little oversteer there at the hairpin again, a little bit of wheel spin, so tyres struggling at this stage of the race.
I mean, it's this tiny bit of wheel spin. If you do that every lap, you're going to ruin your tyres. You really got to be careful. It's closer, I believe, than last time around.
around the same, I think.
Barely,
We saw Merrick close right up at the chicane, which he does again, but wasn't able to do anything last time. Looks like he'll be unable to do anything this time again.
That's the curse of the track, that you have this very slow corner followed up by a right-hander where you need all the downforce. As he closes up actually a lot of the
so close. Yeah, so Willem's really slow down the straight there. I wonder if Merrick was completely dumping the battery then. Almost went into the back of Willem's there, I thought, but yeah, it stays behind. Now I wonder if Merrick is potentially just taking it easy. Now we do know he did have the pace, he was almost a second a lap faster and he was making those mistakes before, so maybe he's just thought in his mind, you know, I'll follow for the next few laps, see if he makes a mistake, see if he just lets him by essentially, instead of actually having to really push and overtake. He will have the last couple of laps to be able to do that if he really needs to, but at the moment maybe he's just, you know, using his head, staying behind. Just four tenths now out the hairpin into Spoon. There were 6 tenths last time round, just 3 tenths now into Spoon. So Jace definitely closer than he was before. Is he able to keep it behind? So Willem's got a good exit through Spoon. Willem's weaving to break the toe again. Yeah, so Merrick not really any closer this time. Comes out the last corner, maximises his exit. Will have DRS once again. Case
close enough actually.
Case not looking to the inside this time. Looks to the outside, turn 1, thinks better of it, just drops behind Case there. Case defended the inside, not able to do anything. Sorry, Merrick not able to do anything, behind for another lap. 2 laps to go now. Oh, it's Cron. Cron pits from P5. I don't think he has the gap to Owens either, so that's going to drop him to P6 at least. Yeah, so Cron into P6. We did say he might have the better strategy, and maybe that's not worked out for Cron the way he wanted. P6 is still, you know, a good result for him. Merrick comes out the hairpin again. You know, not as close as he was before. 7 tenths this time. Time is running out for Merrick here. Gonna have to make a move sooner or later if he... Well, gonna have to make another move. Oh, as Case loses it out the Spoon carve. Case is round, so that's dropped. That's allowed Merrick through. We did say Merrick might be taking it easy, waiting for Case to make a mistake. There's the mistake. Merrick up into P3. Case down into P4. As Cron retires from the race.
I saw him dropping down the order on the live timing sheet. The TV tower is not the most accurate graphic as we know. But I was wondering if what screen was right and which screen was wrong. But yeah, he switched onto the C2 and parked the car. I don't know. That's
unfortunate. I maybe wonder if he's run out of fuel. Yeah, unfortunate to see because he was running a good race up to then. But yeah, that's allowed few cars to gain positions. That's put K in the points as well. And Knowles in the points it will be, I think. But yeah, Gibson on the last lap now. Merrick into P3, not really able to do anything for the championship. P3 is a podium, but not what he needs. Gibson, all he needs is 6th, and he's currently in 1st on the last lap, on the last straight.
I think Case can take it easy. He has 26 seconds behind, so that P4 should be safe for him.
But
the gap between Gibson
more importantly, Gibson on the final corner of the final lap of Suzuka, going to claim his first Formula Trout League Challenger Championship. Gibson in P1, Semaria in P2, and then a huge 30-second gap to Merrick behind. But that's Gibson, the Formula Trout League Challenger Split Season 9? Champion? 9, yep. 9 champion, so fantastic job. The latter half of the season here, Gibson's just been dominant, winning the last, what is it, 4, 5 races now? So, yeah, amazing job to just, you know, Gibson didn't have it easy. Definitely not. You know, didn't qualify and pole every race, didn't dominate the timing sheets as Gibson Merrick comes over the line in first, but that is Oliver Gibson, champion for Challenger Split. Merrick over the line in P3, Wilhelm's behind in P4 for Lioneers. They've already claimed the Teams Championship. Now that is the Drivers' Championship wrapped up as well for Gibson. And Semria on his debut, P2. Really good job there. Obviously qualified very high up in his first race and finished on the podium in his very first race. Not a bad effort at all. So as we run through the rest of the order, we have, as we said, Wilhelm's P4 for Lioneers, Mason Owens in P5 for Supernal. How do we pronounce it? We discussed this last time. Supernal. Luca Menghini for Team Canada in P6, so that's a really good result for him actually. It's a great result for Menghini. Spencer Owens for the other Supernal car in P7. Stephen Hepner, who has already left the race, in P8. James Kay points in P9. And William Knowles, who I think is also one of our new drivers, finishing P10, so that's points for him. So really good job there. But as we said, Oliver Gibson, champion of Challenger Split, goes onto the infield there for some donuts at the end of the race with his teammate Wilhelms, and they will both be up to Master Split if the lineup stays the same next season, I am sure.
I think even if you switch teams, which I don't think, you would find a slot in Master and the Masters. Before that, he had 3 second places, and another win before that. Only on the podium every single race this season.
Yeah, really incredible season for Gibson. As you said, even if Lioneers disappeared tomorrow, I think he would definitely be able to find a team that would take him in Master Split. Definitely deserves it. Wilhelms as well, you know, getting those points throughout the season. Merrick just not able to do anything in these latter stages, fighting in the middle of the season, just dropped back, allowed Gibson to claim it before the end. But yeah, I'm sure he'll have teams interested in him as well, because he's definitely got the pace to be able to match Gibson. So yeah, we will just switch to interviews. Get in for an interview. Aha, we have Eduardo for an interview, who we will bring in now, our P2 finisher. Hello there. Great job today, P2. Really good qualifying as well. Talk us through it. If you can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, hello there.
Very good, I nailed the lap.
Hello.
I was seeing very small gaps. Do you hear me?
Yes, sorry, it's cutting out a little bit. It should be okay now.
Okay, so I noticed that the gaps between the first places, the first guys, were very little. In fact, was something like 2 cents of a second, something like that. Very close. So I knew I needed to nail the lap in order to get pole position, and I did. It was a very good lap. Very happy about it. So I'm very happy also to be in pole position on my first race with you. So
100%. A really great job. We were don't be rude. We were quite surprised. We didn't expect to see, you know, a new driver up there, and yeah, in the race you definitely had some.
I actually competed in the past with leagues, Formula One leagues in Italy. As you may know, I'm Italian, so I try to look elsewhere to see more competitive, more competitive fields, and I found them. Yeah,
it's really great to have you here. And as you said, you definitely made your mark on your first race here. Really exciting racing in the middle stages as well. You just dropped back in the middle. I think you got overtaken by Case.
I started to struggle a little bit with the rear tires, and people started to overtake me.
Yeah, but you. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, I didn't manage very well the brake balance and the engine braking changings, because as the tires start to lose grip, you tend to have a more conservative setup with these factors. So basically, I screwed up a little bit there, and I struggled there. But after that, I put the C1s and I started to catch up to Oliver Gibson.
Yeah, we were watching during
Yeah,
the race. The gap came
it
down from
was
about 5
going, going,
seconds
going,
to
going.
yeah,
Sometimes he was unlucky with the lapped cars, but I was catching stuff like 1/10, 2/10 faster per lap. Sometimes he did little mistakes. Sometimes I did little mistakes too, but was very close at the end. So that was very exciting, very tense. Because
yeah,
if he did a
definitely.
mistake, I would have won, but the thing applied to me. So if I did a mistake,
Yeah,
he could have won it easily. So I was there to keep the pressure, you know. So,
yeah, yeah.
so
But
that was good
again,
enough.
really excellent job. Thanks for racing. Hope we see you around next time because yeah, hopefully we can see you maybe on the top step of the podium next time.
Yeah, I hope that's so too.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks. We will now bring in our Challenger Split champion Oliver Gibson for an interview. Hello, Oliver. Fantastic job out there. Did not have pole position, but came through and won anyway. And all you needed was sixth, but not sixth, first position, and your championship. How was it?
I mean, after the qualifying, I didn't really have much hope about winning, but yeah, it was just. I mean, it's one of my favorite races I've done. It was just. It had everything for me in it. You know, it was the defending, attacking, consistency, but it was probably the most fun race and the most difficult race because obviously I had to keep going and stuff and new wheel and it's direct drive,
Ah,
so
very
it's
nice.
really heavy.
Yeah, like you definitely did not have it easy out there. You know, during the first part of the race, you were obviously racing with the rest of the cars. We had Jace up there, you know, your championship contender. We had Willems up there and Semria, who's one of our new drivers, all keeping you honest. But yeah, after that first stint, you managed to just get into the lead. You had quite an early pit stop actually as well. Was that planned to pit that early, or did it just think, right, I'm going to pit now and gain those positions?
um, well, for me and Case, we were thinking we should pit for C2s. Luckily, we didn't because
Hmm.
obviously yeah, that would have been the wrong choice. Um, but once I saw that like the gaps were just kind of staying as like a stalemate kind of thing, I just thought they must be struggling with tires. So if we pit for new tires, then we should hopefully come out ahead of them, and it worked. So that was uh quite strategical, more than look. I don't know.
Yeah, I
One
mean
of the two.
it definitely worked. You were in P2 at the time. Willems unfortunately made the mistake, but you probably would have jumped in as well. And yeah, you came to win another race. You know, it always seems to go your way. I'm not saying you don't deserve it. Obviously, it's skill. It's not just luck. But yeah, you've done a really fantastic end to the season, and that is, you know, you're now champion of Challenger Split. So yeah, just you know, nothing more to say really.
Yeah, it feels pretty good though. So
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, thank you for racing. Hopefully, we'll see you next week as champion. No need for any more points, but yeah, well deserved.
yeah, thank you. Thanks for commentating.
Thanks. Bring our P3 finisher now, Jace American. After interesting race for him. Merrick, how was that? Obviously, maybe not the best start to the race, but pulled it back at the end. Be able to make the move for the podium on Merrick. On Merrick? On Willems.
On
After he
me?
made a mistake.
I didn't move on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Oh no, I was gonna ask. What did Edo say about our incident? If he'd said anything.
Oh
at all.
yes, was this the touch through the through
Turn
the
one.
Oh.
I will admit that the incident at the triangle was my fault. I was closing in on him way too fast. But we were both gonna pit anyways, so harm no foul, I guess. But
yeah, there wasn't much
when-
mention of
but
it, to be honest.
But I believe either I'm invisible or he's blind because he just at turn one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think we actually caught that well. Yeah, unfortunately, he
That's
didn't
a
really
shame.
make any mention of it. Obviously, contact is never what you want.
Yeah,
and-
he bruised up my car pretty badly on top of ramming me off the road.
I mean, I'm sure you're
And,
probably
that's-
aware. Sorry, go
Yeah,
on.
no one's faultless, but that's the kind of stuff that leaves a sour first impression.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, he had a pretty
And
impressive pace, but
and Ollie, congratulations to him, but I think he had some stuff to say on him as well. Um, if he brought it up at all, too.
no, not really.
But yeah, congratulations to him. I think he locked up the drivers' championship. Honestly, I wasn't expecting to do anywhere near as well as I did, but honestly, I needed this. Like, just some semblance of a return to form after Kyalami, Spa, all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you had a really good initial getaway, but then, just turn one, a very, very tricky corner here, dropped back a little bit behind Wilms, and then, yeah, had the little mistakes in the middle, but you managed to pull it back at the end of the race, get P3 for Wilms back up onto the podium.
And that's another good point. Like, me and Case, we went side by side through turn one, no problem. But I guess that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to Challenger Split.
Yeah, it's very hard racing, but then very unpredictable as well. I think it can be in Challenger Split, but you definitely showed throughout the season. I think you have really impressive pace, and yeah, maybe not championship this time round, but we'll see how it goes.
It's just I need to get a bit more consistent, and I don't know if it's my I don't know if it's my fault that these things are happening to me, or if it's just outside things. Like, I still haven't figured that one out yet, but if it is on my side, that's something that I can improve on next season.
Well, we've got the next few races for you to clear your head, and then next season we'll see where you end up. Obviously, a few Master Split teams are probably interested in your quite impressive pace, I will say. So, yeah, thanks for...
Still don't know who I'm going for yet. I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know.
It'll be a surprise to both of us, I suppose.
A lot of things in my head, demons, angels, whatever.
Well, again, thanks for racing, and thanks for doing a great job from providing an exciting race today.
Thank you. Road America is going to be interesting for the sprint series, so I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks.
Alrighty, take it easy.
Case P4, sorry. But your driver in the champion and you in P4, a very, very solid result for both of you. How was it?
Well, it was a mixed bag of feelings, to be honest. Qualifying went really good, to be honest. I think I'm not sure if I momentarily had pole or not, but either way, I think at one point I even matched one of Jace's lap times. That was
yeah, exactly.
Really,
it was down to the 1,000th.
Yeah, I couldn't even see it on my app, so I was like really surprised with that. But I think I eventually started P3. What was funny, I got on the grid and I saw a Concorde car, whatever it is, I think ahead of me. I thought, like, is that the support? That can't be. But no, it was that new guy. Anyway, my start was really good. I eventually got to lead as well in Taskpan.
Mm-hmm.
That was really unfortunate. Got a bit mad about it, but I caught up eventually. Then I went to pit for the C1s. Was a bit unsure about them first because for my experience with the C1s and what was it? Kyalami is. I was also thinking to do the C1s there, but I was looking at the other people's pace. We were put it early on them, and they were really slow. So I was like, nah, these tires aren't really good here. But I had to end up doing it for this race because, well, you basically almost had to. I was trying to do a different strategy, and it sort of worked out. I had some close battles with Jace. Also, in the end, I was battling with him on the last laps to hopefully keep that podium position. I so wanted to be on the podium with Oliver, but then I spun at the exit of Spoon, and I got so mad. But yeah, eventually P4. Massive congrats to Oliver as well. It's just he's having how can I say it? An absolute amazing season. He's been on the podium every single race so far, and has won 5 times in a row. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, definitely a great pickup for a Lion ears there. Yeah, as you were saying, in the first start of the race, you were really, really strong. You took the lead on those first few laps, then unfortunately made that little error which dropped you back. You managed to get back up to P3, but I don't want to try to seem rude, but we were watching your lap times in that second stint, and we were wondering, did you maybe not fix your damage after the initial incident? Because your pace was not as strong as it was in that first stint when you were matching Jason Oliver.
I did fix all of my damage. I'm not sure if I caught on any other later on. I don't think I did, but I think I just think that Oliver will always obviously a bit faster than me, but especially Jace. Jace is flying on C1 tires. We've noticed that throughout the whole season. He's just on another level with those tires. I don't think those tires, personally, for me, they fit me that well. So I'm not really sure if that's just it, or maybe I was just something else was wrong with the car. I didn't notice anything too special, but yeah.
Well, regardless of that, it was still a really strong result. Obviously, for you, for the team, you've already claimed the championship, so no real need for the team points. But the fight for a second with Jace is still on. One bad result for Jason, you might be able to claim a Lioneers 1-2 in the championship. So
yeah, I was really hoping I was going to score. Well, obviously, third and fourth, but I've been a lot of points already. But I was just so disappointed after I spun. Like, it was such an exciting battle. It brought me back to season 8, the first race of Lioness Racing as well for me. I was in a battle with a few people. I believe Berta and Littles and a few other people. We were on like the final 1 or 2 laps, and then all of a sudden the server just put everyone back in the pitch, and I was so disappointed and so mad. But that was out of my control. This time it was, so that made me a bit more angry as well. But yeah.
Well, there's definitely still some races to be able to make that difference. So don't give up hope yet. There's still chance.
Yeah, I find I don't drive at Canada too often. I know that's the next race. I'm really gonna have to put in quite some practice to hopefully be able to beat Jace for P2 in the championship, and then after that's Brazil. So yeah, we'll be seeing what I can put up for these last final rounds.
I'm sure it'll be very exciting to watch. Thanks, Case. I'm seeing the stream shortly.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for commentating.
Thank you. So that was it. Suzuka round 10. We have seen both championships finished in Challenger Split. Lioneers Racing and Oliver Gibson take both championships. So fantastic job and congratulations to the team and the driver. This was Alex Cochran. Stick around for the Master Split, and I was joined by Christoph Bose on co-commentatory duty. Goodbye.